All right. Good morning, everybody. We're live on Facebook, Twitch, and Discord. So give me just 1 second here. I'm just waiting for the little thingy to set up. Okay. So exciting today, right? We got Weeble 6.0 came out. Let me just make an announcement in the free channel. Give me just 1 second, guys. Sorry. If you guys have any questions, you can throw them in the free live stream chat channel. I know we got a late start this morning. It's Monday morning. I typically don't do a lot of trading on Monday morning anyway, but my internet decided not to allow me on the internet. So going to call them later today and see what's up, because that was I had a pretty long outage on Friday as well. So I'm not too happy about that, especially if I'm day trading and trying to run these live streams. So I got to make sure if there's some sort of diagnostic issue, they figure it out on their end, or if it's on my end, I need to know what's going on. Give me 1 second, guys. I just have to copy this channel ID and click that, and then I'll share my screen for you guys. Okay. Oh, I have so many things to click. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So let me get back to this tab. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. First off, how's everyone's weekend? Right, we had a good 4-day week last week, and then we had our regular weekend. Unfortunately, I feel like we got ripped off this past weekend. Oh God, Snowflake. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. I have it shared on YouTube, Twitch, and hopefully you guys in Discord can see it. I'm just watching SPY. We kind of knew it was going to pull back today. The whole Twitter situation also. If we look at Twitter, I'm pretty sure that was had some hard sell off the last 2 trading days, but Elon decided to back out of the deal there. So we're interested to see what's going on there. But for SPY, let's just go ahead and watch this. Every morning we have that 10 o'clock-ish turnaround. So this is a good opportunity to start looking for a support. And then if it pulls back up, we may see a reversal for the day. Otherwise, it might just consolidate low and fall back, right? We had we had quite a few green days in a row. So we might not be able to expect it to keep pushing without pulling back a little bit, right? It's got to resolve some of that price action. It may have done that today, so we'll see. So most important thing in the morning is that Weeble 6 came out. So the version notes are right here. Unfortunately, they haven't updated them, which is interesting. I got a notification this morning to update. I think I saw the same stuff back on the 29th, but I just downloaded it today, and I don't think a lot of you guys are using it. But if you are, you should see the seconds interval chart. This is on the app. The website's the same, but the app now has the ability to download it. Automatically ping me this morning, finally. There are more technical signals. There's a seconds interval chart. So let's look at that first, right? That's what people like to see. So on TradingView, right? If I open up my TradingView and bring it over here, you guys can see I have it on the 30-second chart right here for Bitcoin and SPY. Let's just go ahead and pull this back up on SPY. And you can see the price on these faster moving stocks, such as the runs. This is a scalper's dream, right? Being able to see below that 1-minute chart. That's amazing. So now we can see that on Weeble. So you don't necessarily need to have TradingView open and Weeble at the same time, especially if your order book and time and sales is over here. If you have that level 2 data on one or the other, you don't have to buy it on both. You can just keep it open over here. There's also the 1 second. There is 15-second, 5-second. This is really good stuff. I don't recommend anyone trade SPY on the 1 second chart or 15 seconds, but it is a good benchmark for other stocks. So if I, for example, change this to if I desync that and I want to trade maybe say Apple, right? If I'm trying to scalp Apple, right, I can put this down on 30 seconds, that on 30 seconds. And I can see how these align with each other. So if I'm looking to trade one stock, I can use SPY as a benchmark on these sub-minute charts. So Obviously, Apple would be very difficult to scalp because it's a higher value, heavy dilution stock, so you're not going to get a whole lot out of scalps. But it is pretty cool nonetheless, right? It's also on 2 different time frames on purpose. I wanted to see the first half of the candle for the impulse on Apple. So moving on, right? We have a lot to get into today. So looking at the indicators here, you can go to edit indicators here, and this little dialog will pop up as always, but you can go to technical signals here, and this, I don't know how good it is. I'm going to test it. But this should allow you to see patterns, right? So if I want to look for, let's see, do they have inverted cup and handle? I don't think they do. Anyway, flags, right? Everyone loves flags. Everyone loves wedges and stuff like that. This gives a description so that you can see exactly what you're looking for. And you can see, obviously, a flag has 2 parallel lines in a descending direction opposed to the incoming trend, and it's for continuation. This kind of breaks down the pattern. So if you haven't taken PBU yet, or if you have more questions, or if you're curious in the moment, you don't have to go back and watch a PBA class or something like that and miss the trade. You can just look right here. As long as you can think about what it's called, like a rounded top, for example. These are, or I'm sorry, let's look at a head and shoulders top, right? This is, it's super handy to have as a resource. And it's not just like the same as having a chart, right? You can have a chart with all these different patterns and stuff, but this thing actually walks you through some descriptions, which is pretty cool because it beats having to go to Investopedia and just look stuff up, right? You can also go to technical indicator and read through some of these if you'd like. Short-term KSD, for example, if anyone uses that. Not a good indicator in my opinion, but it looks like they've added it to Webull. This is the first time I'm seeing this stuff, so it looks like it's pretty good stuff. I know Duck will be super happy about this Williams percent range indicator. I believe it's percent range. This it looks like it. Yep. Yeah. So I know this is one he talks about a lot. Yeah, this is good stuff. So let's go ahead and look at technical indicators. See if there's anything cool in here that we can use that we don't already have. I see there's the momentum money flow index. Looks like a lot of this stuff is already in there. Yeah. So I don't think they added any new indicators. I think they just added some of these. So anyway, the cool part about this is that you can add, let's just go ahead and add some moving averages, right? And I just have the 20 period moving average. So now if I want to create an alert, I can click technical here. I can add a technical indicator, right? I could set it to the 20, value above, or crossed above by. So, on TradingView, Thinkorswim, you can set alerts that trigger based on an indicator price related to the indicator, right? So like a trend line break, a indicator cross up, things like that. This is pretty good stuff. This is powerful, right? So if you're looking at, I wonder if it'll let me change the MA20. No, it won't let me. I was going to see if we could set like a MA20 cross above the 50, but I guess we can't. But that's cool, right? It's still pretty cool. For now, considering Webull is kind of falling behind all the other brokers except for Robinhood. This is good stuff, right? Because then we can at least incorporate these. So if you're looking for an MA cross, or like a lot of you SPY traders are going to love the VWAP cross, right? So when the price crosses above the VWAP, that means it's above the average price by volume for the day, right? So that's pretty good, right? And if you just want to see it happen all the time, you can just go to here, click save, right? And this should, in theory, follow the VWAP up and down. And when the price crosses above it, I should get an alert. So if I look right up here, or if I add this to a watch list, for example, let's add it to the Paper Planes watch list just for fun. Right? So I don't have all the stuff on the left here. Obviously, we're in a red market this morning. So I'm just going to watch SPY right here. Okay. And it doesn't matter what time frame I'm on. The VWAP is always going to be the same value. See right here, it's 384.58. Doesn't matter, right? It's oh, that's the moving average. Sorry. Let me turn the VWAP on. It's my first time, guys. Yeah, 386. It's going to bounce around as the price is going on, but it doesn't matter what time frame it's on. The VWAP is an absolute value. So I believe the alert should be for that time frame, but it doesn't matter, right? Because the VWAP is always just going to be that no matter what. That's pretty cool, though. I like that. I thought I'd change this to unlimited. Let's change it to unlimited. Or you could do it once per minute, right? That's probably more sensical. So let's go ahead and change this time frame back to 30 seconds just for fun. Okay. And you can see, where's our VWAP friend? Oh, okay. So the VWAP doesn't appear on the seconds chart. That's good to know. We're all learning together. Let's see what the, does it appear on the 15? Oh, that's garbage. I wonder why it's not showing up there. It does on the other time frames on like TradingView. It does that, I believe. Either way, you know, it's still cool that we can do it on the 1 minute and above, but I would like to have it between the minutes there so scalping can be easier. Because a lot of people just like to scalp off the VWAP. That's cool. Let me just check comments real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please ask in the free live stream chat channel. If you guys are in any plays you want to look at, we could take a look at that. I'm just going over these features of Webull right now because it's pretty cool. Let me just create an alert here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so, because it accidentally, gotcha. Because I made a new alert. There we go. So technical. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, let's say I wanted to, I wonder if there's a, oh, it looks like it's just these, it's just these 4 indicators, guys. My bad. Okay, so TradingView is still far superior in this sense, but that's okay, right? Because if I wanted to look at something cool on TradingView, if I want to set an alert for that, I could just go to add alert, and I could just pick the indicator that I was using. Let's add the VWAP here, right? Just to keep it consistent here. VWAP, estimated average price. Okay. And then let's say that's this blue line here, I believe. Add alert. I'm just going to pick the VWAP here. Crossing. Oops. Sorry, crossing up. And then, yeah, you guys can see that it allows me to choose the VWAP, and it renders it here on this 30-second time frame. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's good stuff. So yeah, I think I'm still going to use TradingView, but if you have Webull, that's okay too. My notifications are going nuts. I hope you guys can't hear that, and I apologize. That was interesting. Can we look at GSMG? Sure. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a day trade, swing trade? Looks like probably a swing trade because it's that 1 minute chart is not readable. So let's take a look. Okay, so looks like we got quite a bit of turbulence here. Okay. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, look at this 1 hour chart here. This is not something that you want to really try to build aggressively because there's so many. I'm going to get rid of this VWAP. I hate the VWAP. You just can't read this, right? So if you're trying to swing this, you know, it's going to be on a much higher time frame. So let's look at the weekly chart. I'm sorry, the weekly, right? So if you look at this, you know, there's not much going on here, right? it's heavily beaten down. Let's check the corporate actions. Is that the result of a split? No. Looks like it was a new IPO back in 2018. Dramatic sell-off or some sort of dilution act. Yeah, that's rough, man. Let's look at the SEC filings. It's not a stock I would like to trade personally. Let's go ahead and type the ticker in here. Those who aren't familiar with the Edgar database, this is where all companies are required to file their SEC filings. So anything that affects the company that shareholders have a right to know about, they have to file. And it's a foreign company, so they're filing 6Ks. Yikes, right? 6Ks tend to be a little bit sketchier because they don't have the same requirements in the same format as an 8K. Of course, this information still has to be included, but they have to include it. There's just a minimum, right? They don't have to put it a certain way or anything like that. So let's take a look at some red flags here, right? First off, it's Chinese and it's a communication company. So not terrible, right? But Chinese companies, we know they have those surprise regulations and they like to hold information. So that's just a red flag for me personally. Second red flag here is that there's a low float, which is cool, but there's a lot of restricted shares, 4 times the amount, right? So that's a big red flag for me because they could do some sort of dilution at any time without having to register those new shares. So terrifying, right? Things I do like. I do like the current ratio, quick ratio are up. They have a PE that's registered, so that's good. And it's shortable, which is good. But we have to validate that these are valid, right? We have to make sure that they're legitimate and not just products of some forms being filled out, some being blank, right? Insider ownership is high. That's pretty good. Institutional ownership is low. That's not good. I like to see 50% above usually, but it depends on the company. It's not a deal breaker, but oh my God, my notifications are going nuts. Oh, because Weeble's throwing a fit here because the sorry, I gotta get rid of that spy alert. Sorry, guys. This thing is just going nuts because it's hovering the view app. Okay, so let's take a look here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, see this right here. They received their MBR notice, so they're not doing so hot for 180 days in a row. They get the last 10 days if they can't get above or hold above $1 for the closing price, the bid price. They get delisted. So it looks like they're just trying to get bought out. So let's take a look here. Merger. Okay. Okay. $1.55. Okay. Well, that's not bad. So they're getting bought out at a pretty decent rate. Looking for a date of effectiveness, though. That's probably going to be in the SEC filings. Yeah, so hostile takeover, right? They own 72.8%. Yeah, it looks like the company itself is just not good. These guys are, yeah, it's not good, guys. Anyway, let's take a look here. Let's see what they got. So this is the most recent filing. It's from July 11th. The filing before that was from May, right? And then they had one in April. And that was just somebody buying more than 10%. So, or controlling more than 10%, I should say. It was an amendment. So, not a whole lot going on with this company. It's no bueno, guys. Let's go and take a look at that. Okay, so what we're going to look for is the, we don't really care about the certain definitions and terms and stuff. That's just in case you're new to the SEC filings. What we're going to look for is the merger, closing, effective time, effects of the merger. I don't care about directors and officers, and I don't really care about governing documents. So let's look at those first. We're also, as shareholders, we're going to look at treatment of shares, right? Because if they're being bought out, most of the time, the buying company will pay you for your shares. But not always. So it's good to notice what's going on there. So let's just skip down through all this garbage definitions and blah, blah, blah. We don't care about this stuff. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. I know Discord sometimes has a lot of issues rendering text on a screen that I'm looking at. So if it's blocky or pixelated, just let me know and I can stop scrolling for a second. Okay. Okay, so they haven't set that yet. Okay, effects of the merger. Unless there's a date that's listed above. Sometimes they'll list it above. Okay, looks good for you. All right. Okay, treatment of shares. Here we go. So each share issued and outstanding immediately prior to the effective time, other than the excluded shares and dissenting shares, shall be canceled in exchange for the right to receive $1.55 in cash per share without interest. So that means you're getting bought out at $1.55 per share. Should no longer be issued and outstanding and shall be canceled and cease to exist. Yeah, so your shares are going bye-bye. All right, to receive any dividends. Okay. Yeah, so if you were amassing shares to vote, tough nuggies, right? It's over. It's gone now. So it looks like they're not going to give you shares of the post-merger. It's just they're just absorbing the company completely and getting rid of it. So each excluded share. Okay, here we go. So each excluded share issued and outstanding immediately prior to the effective time shall be canceled and cease to exist without payment of any consideration or distribution therefore. So so this might bite you, right? Depending on the vote, if there was a vote previously, it can be considered a dissenting share if you didn't participate in the vote. So you might not get compensated for that if you did miss a vote. Which is why I always try to vote when I have the ability to, because I don't want something like this happening. Not that it matters too much, but it at least helps you, even if you voted, like if you didn't vote for, right? Not you don't want to vote against, but you just have to be careful. There's other types of events which can lead to your shares being deemed dissenting, but that's usually the most popular one. And that's just like a bank, right? If you don't participate in your account for long enough, they have the right to charge you fees and eventually just take your money. So it all just depends. Share dividend. Yeah, do you have warrants or anything? Probably not. I don't even think this company has anything substantial enough for warrants. Yeah, so you're going to want to read through this. It's got instructions and stuff. So if you're ever curious, let me just pull this page up. Hang on just one sec, guys. Sorry, guys. Just one moment here. There we go. Sorry, you guys are getting a little bit of a PBA class this morning. So let me send you this. Oh, that doesn't apply to our market. Hang on, guys. Yeah, I guess it depends on how they did the agreement, right? Because if there was any sort of previous notification where you had to like elect in, or if you had to vote, then that would make you a dissenter if you weren't able to. It doesn't I don't see anything in this company that says that they did that. So you might be okay, but I'm not 100% sure, and I just don't want to look through this whole thing. What was that? March 22nd, I think it was. So it should be this one. Press release. All right. Yeah. Plus, I don't know, man. I just don't trust Chinese companies at this point. So yeah, it's sketchy. Yeah, at best. Let me close that. I don't need that. All right. Yeah, I mean this also could include a lot of like restricted shares and stuff that we just don't have access to anyway. So yeah, let's see here. That. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry, let me just read the comments here. Yeah, man, I hate this stock. I don't. There's too many red flags for me. It's just not something that I personally enjoy trading. Not saying there's not potential there. You could put it like crazy or short it if there's shares, but you got to get out before that termination, the merger date. At the very least, right? Until you understand what's going on here. I don't know what your average was, and you don't have to put it in here. We can always reduce our position, right? So this one obviously had a huge sell-off back in the day. Let me just go back to Weeble here, right? GSMG. I also don't know what these little dots are. I haven't traded Apple. I don't know what's up with that. So usually when you see stuff like this, it's buy and sell. Oh, these are corporate events. Okay, so they used to be down here on the calendar axis, but oh, cool. Oh, look at that. That's cool. So if you guys can, I don't know if you guys can see that. I guess this is what they do now. They post it right on the chart for us. So that's a cool, that's a nice little treat for us. I don't know how reliable it is yet, though. But at the very least, you can see, yeah, if you just click on it, it brings you right to the description right here, where the signal occurred. And then if you hit learn more, I assume it brings you to the description. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's nice. That's probably going to be a little bit obnoxious for me. I don't think I'm going to like it. Okay. And then the CCI, just by default, it just says that it went into overbought territory, which, one of the first things that we teach is that you can't trade based on any specific indicator or setup, right? You got to have confluence. You got to have insight into them. But that is cool, right? Especially if you're struggling with your resistance lines, right? So if I hold my mouse over this diamond bottom, or if I click on it, it persists, right? This helps us draw some resistance lines short term, right? Obviously, it's not going to go too far. But that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that it does that. Just be careful with that, though. I mean, you can't trust a computer-generated pattern, right? Because even the best ones out there suck most of the time. So we always have to confirm what we're seeing with our eyeballs and our own experience, and go from there. So, yeah, this is like, I'm willing to bet that this says the RSI crossed back above 30, right? Yep, there we go. Crossed back above 30. No biggie. Let's take a look here. Okay. Okay, so it looks like it gives bullish and bearish signals, quote unquote signals, right? You can't just, these are not buy signals, guys. But it is cool because it helps highlight opportunities. So rather than trying to buy every single one of these candles and hope you're right, it looks like it gives us some opportunities, and then we can decide whether or not it's appropriate for us to place a buy there. Where, this stock, for me personally, I don't like it, so I wouldn't be buying anything here. I understand the hype behind it. People just want to get in before that, before the merger, and they want to make their money, but it's just not something I personally would want to keep my money in. It's just scary stuff. That's cool, though. I really like what Weeble has done here. I wish they would build on that, and I wish they would just let us have custom indicators like TradingView does. I love my TradingView. I like the ability to write my own scripts and to, I gotta get rid of that VWAP as well. To have everything that everything customized to our own preferences. We will be going over some TradingView interface basics at some point in the near future. But you know, there's TradingView still beats the snot out of Webull, in my opinion, as far as technical analysis goes. So the only thing I don't like about TradingView is I can't link my Webull to it. I wish I could. I can do a webhook and make a bot that'll do all my Webull trades, but I still like using my own fingers and eyeballs. So that's going to have to wait. But this is a major step forward for Webull, which I do like. So I like that they've... let's see if it picks up the giant wedge on AMC on the daily. Let's go back in time. Nothing. So we had this whole line, this level right here. It did not pick up on. Let's see if it picks it up on the weekly. Nope. So yeah, that's not good, right? It's still not up to snuff. It still has limitations. This is a very easy wedge to identify. Obviously it failed. That should have been the bear signal right there on that break. Anyway, there's a MACD cross up, fast stochastic cross up, CCI. This thing loves CCI for some reason. I don't like CCI, but I do know our OTC wizard, John Zadar. He loves the CCI. That's his bread and butter. It picks up a wedge on this one. That's a garbage wedge. Anyway, let's see here. I wish you could. Let me see if there's a way to hide these. See if there's a way to hide certain ones, because I don't necessarily want to see. Like if I hide the CCI right here, is this going to disappear? CCI is subchart. It just adds it to the chart and removes it. Technical signals. Let's see if we can find a way to hide this. I wonder why they chose these specific indicators. That's kind of awkward. What do we have? Engulfing line bullish for the other stock there. Blah, blah, blah. We already know this. Yeah, wow. So I guess you can't. Maybe it's under the chart settings. This is interesting. If anyone has any questions, of course, please feel free to ask. I don't see any settings to take this off. That's terrible. Wow. All right. Well, they sure showed us, didn't they? So you have to go here to technical signals and turn that off. That's terrible. All right. Well, whatever. I guess I'll take it. Ugh. All right. Anyway, I guess I'll just turn it back on. Okay. All right. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your questions, Mr. Knight. I know it's man, my computer's lagging so bad. I'm just trying to close these windows here. Yeah, this seems more like a hype run up to me. The company has no long-term potential, so a lot of the larger investors are not supporting it. So it's just getting in, getting out. They're not. This is going to be like not necessarily a pump and dump, but a pump and disappear, right? Let's check UAL for a swing trade. So I'm just going to turn these off because they're annoying. Sorry, guys. Okay. So let me also go back here and sync the symbol. Okay, so I have my daily here. Put this on the 1 hour just to start. Okay, remember the first thing we like to do is look at the weekly chart, identify strong supports and resistances. We got one there, we got one there, we got one there. We got a minor support there. We got a good channel here. So this right here is a good channel for activity, but it's got to break back up into there before we can get anything out of that. There's that. Slap one of these bad boys on there. And then as we really don't care too much about anything up here because we're not there yet. So here's the daily chart. We're bouncing around between then. Overall, right? We got this retracement with bearish continuation in the weekly time frame. So this is a very long-term setup. So daily, right? We got our series of impulses, corrections, 8 shapes. We got this nice support level here. We are currently below the midway point between this one and this one. So we can start looking for opportunities, right? But that doesn't mean that they're guarantees. So we don't need to just buy them because it's below this blue line here. Rather, I would like to see a higher high and a higher low, or some sort of bullish disparity. I just don't see anything yet. So we are at a good area for a potential buy if we see a confirmation. If we don't see a confirmation, it could just as easily fail this level and just pull down harder to a new low. So got to be careful there. If we're looking on the 1 hour, I don't really see anything. It looks bearish. I don't see any sort of clean pattern. I see a trend line here that broke and it's falling down now. So yeah, I don't really see anything. I see a drop of volatility. We know that periods of high volatility are followed by periods of low volatility, and periods of low volatility are followed by periods of high volatility. So we can expect some sort of magnitude to come in, but magnitude is independent of direction. So we can't guarantee it's going to go up. But it looks like it's going to move pretty soon. This volatility is going to start to expand, and that's going to cause some violence in the stock. But it looks bearish for now. So no reason to buy just yet. Definitely one you can watch, and it looks like it's got a lot of good potential here off this level, but there just isn't any reason to buy these red candles right now for me. So hopefully if you're still watching and that answers your question, hopefully. If not, then we could dig further into it. But yeah, it looks bearish for now, right? And I got to ask a question for everybody here. How many of you guys are struggling right now? And the number of people who are struggling, how often are you just buying red candles? Just because maybe something is at a level or is near a level. Do you feel like that justifies placing buys there? Or do you feel like you're constantly just finding yourself chasing red candles and hoping you're right? Because if you're tempted to buy seeing something like this, for example, and it's not just like a first buy, just to get your foot in the door, that's probably a good factor into why you're struggling, because if there's no reason to buy right here. Again, unless it's your first buy, right? It is a good potential area for first buy, because then it doesn't really matter how specific you are, because you can always add to it a little bit lower, but that first buy should be very, very small, right? So does anyone else have any other tickers they want to look at? I'm probably going to jump off here pretty soon. I know it was kind of a late stream this morning. I was having that internet issue, but I do have another one at 11:30. So I want to make sure I point that out for you guys. Premium members will be in the trading floor at 11:30. And then at 8:30 tonight, we start we have another PBU live semester 1 class with Big Daddy and OG Nikki. So if you're not in premium, you're missing out on the Pennybois University. And if you're not in the Pennybois University and you are in premium, you're going to get the paddle because it's included. So there's no reason not to. Let's look at Cosm. Cosm. All right. So Cosm, again, it's another slow mover, right? It's sub-dollar, heavily beaten down, super risky. There's just not a lot going on with this stock. I mean, this is the daily chart, and you can see there's barely any movement on a lot of these days, right? So this is a much, much slower move. The float is very low, which is great, but they have high restricted shares. So maybe not the best, but if this is your trading style, then will be it. We're just going to point out some red flags here. I like to look for the bad first and then the good. If there's too many red flags, I don't bother looking for the good, because that would just be confirmation bias, and I don't like that. So it's an American company, drug manufacturer, heavy restricted shares, of course. No institutional ownership. That means it's not likely to hold a trend if it does reverse. Low relative volume, so it's not getting a lot of activity right now. Current ratio, quick ratio are both above 1, which is good. It just means they have enough assets compared to their liabilities to survive. I'm not going to bother looking at sorry, their cash on hand or anything like that. But we can see here we're in the lower half of this down channel, and it's just not. It needs life, right? There's no sign of life right here. Definitely one worth watching, but it's not one that we should be aggressively trading or adding every 5% down or something like that, because that's how you're going to get overcommitted, and who knows how much longer this thing can drop, right? So some things to keep in mind would be their delisting date, right? Do we know when they had that? Ugh, I keep trying to. I'm just trying to get to Discord, and they keep throwing up other stuff here. My other windows. All right, so let's look. And who could tell me right off the bat which items at an 8K give us the delisting date? We'll see how much you guys are paying attention to the PBA. We know 2.02 and 9.01 are always going to be earnings, right? No? Okay. We'll do more homework in the PBA. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the March 2022. First off, you can just kind of you can narrow it down by looking at the date at which it dropped below $1. So right here, it dropped below $1. So we're not even really there yet, right? That was last month. So they probably didn't get one yet. That's okay. This is a private placement, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing good for us here. We don't care about that. Okay. So actually, yeah, I will look at the current report here. Actually, let me look at the 10K as well. Or 10Q, sorry. So this is another red flag right here, actually, though. Again, if you've been here for a while, you already know this, but a 10K is the annual report. 10Q is a quarterly report. 10Ks are audited, and there are a lot more steps required to file a 10K. So it's more common to see NT 10Ks, which is just the delay. It's a delayed filing, which is understandable, right? It happens to all kinds of companies. It's fine. It's not a deal breaker. But 10Qs are very fast. They can do them in-house in a couple hours, right? There's no reason for a 10Q to be delayed. So if you see an NT 10Q, that's just bad management. That's somebody, their CFO specifically, just not doing their job. So this is a huge red flag for me, because there's no reason, sorry, there's no reason for them to ever need to file a delayed 10Q, right? It's just a matter of auditing and reporting numbers. That means that they're not keeping track of their numbers the right way, or they don't have good controls. So that right there is almost always a deal breaker for me. So at this point, I personally would walk away. I can't tell anyone else what to do, but I know for a fact that that's my personal deal breaker, because there's no excuse. I've never seen an NT 10Q result in something positive long term. Unless, of course, they fire the CFO or have some sort of business vote or something like that. Okay, so let's take a look here. I don't see anything good yet. That's not bad. All right. Let's look at the 10Q here. Oh, also, fun fact, if they file an NT 10K, they have 15 days to file the 10K. Otherwise, they're in violation of SEC law. If they file an NT 10Q, they have 5 days. So if you don't see 10Q right after this NT 10Q within 5 days, that's a huge red flag. Even bigger. Like it's a banner at that point. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these numbers here. Let me see. I do not have my add-on. I wrote an add-on that strips all these numbers out and slaps it at the top, but I took that down. So they had a private placement. They've done a bunch of sales and stuff. So these numbers are going to be proportionally disproportionate. So let's take a look here. Anyway, total assets, 49 million. Is that million or billion? Yeah, million. All right. Total liabilities, 39 million. So they're positive, right? It's 1.3, 1.4, somewhere up there. Now I'm looking at current assets. It's 41.6. Total current liabilities is 29. So about 30. So that's good. That's Looks like they've managed their sales quite a bit. They've reduced their liabilities. So it looks like they used some of that money and paid off some of their debt, basically. So that's good. They're trying. Or at least someone is trying in the company. But they need to get their act together with those NT10Qs. Okay. Oh, that's bad. All right. Yeah, not the strongest company. It's not terrible. But yeah, it's sketchy, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and we don't need that amendment. And let's look at this notice of effectiveness. Okay, so yeah, that looks like they got something that they tried to file a registration, got failed, got rejected. Again, this the SEC probably hates their CFO. Okay. Cool. All right. So they're trying to do an offering. Right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't enjoy trading this one personally. There's so many better opportunities out there. This one is good though. It has potential, but there's just a lot of red flags that we need to be careful of if we are trading it. So I guess, yeah, when I see red flags, it doesn't necessarily mean I wouldn't trade them. It just means that I would be super, super sensitive to events pertaining to those red flags. And I would automatically use a smaller position size. Our money, you and I, our retail money, is not going to move the price of this stock. So when you see prices moving up, prices moving down, that's not us, right? So don't worry about how big or small your position is. Your goal is to focus on how much you risk and how much you make, right? It's not to try to cause the price to reverse. So wait for other people to do that first, bigger people that have more research and more access to information that we can't see because we're not licensed brokers. So, it's good though. Yeah, I just, we see this bearishness needs to dissipate. The price needs to have some strength behind it. It needs to move up. So think about it logically, right? If you were to buy right here, right, and it goes down, what have you gained? You've gained nothing, right? If it was a small buy, you could say, okay, the price is curling back up, blah, blah, blah. You had an opportunity to take a little bit of a profit there. But if you didn't, maybe it was after hour, or well, it wasn't after hours because it's on the daily, but maybe you just missed this spike, right? Maybe it was a block trade that came through and filled and then dropped. Doesn't really matter, right? If this is your first buy, you're protecting yourself by only placing a first buy after you see the price go up, right? But if you saw the price here and decided to buy, what did that gain you? Nothing, right? That's bad. Same here, same here, same here. At this point, you're getting a little bit of a potential return here, but this doesn't exist yet. So when you're buying, you're seeing this, right? That's what you saw when you bought that. So there's no reason to just buy just because something is red. There's a time and a place to do that for sure. But if you miss the spike, maybe you were in the hospital or something that day, you're still hanging out up here, right? That's not good. So here, however, it found a support. I'm just going to ignore this, right? Found a support here and it started to pull up right here. Broke above those previous highs. You had some okay volume here. I'm just looking at the volume up here in this corner. So this would have been a decent area for a first buy, right? And then the price fell, right? Because the bearishness was still there. It was unable to keep pushing, right? That tells you it's still bearish. If it can't go up after the price starts to curl up, that just means it's too bearish. You can either exit there, you can reduce your position, or you can just hold on to it and manage your average over time. Okay, same here. It had another spike, right? This thing loves those little spikes and sell-offs, right? It cannot hold profits very long. So for right now, if you bought here, right, above $1, and you bought here on this spike, you might have sold, right? Because it had another, let's say you grab some right here as it was starting to pull up, right? You don't have to buy any of these red candles. You could just wait for it to be green. And if that's your second buy, your average would be right here, right? And if that ran up to here, there's your 64% profit. You could have just run for the hills, right? But let's say you're still in, right? That's your first buy, second buy. Right now, it's just finding support. It's not pulling up anywhere, so there's no reason to add more money to it yet. Right, and that's where a lot of people hurt themselves, because they see on these smaller time frames, because they're looking at the smaller time frames. They don't zoom out enough to see how flat this is. There's nothing going on in this stock right now. It's got a very, very, very gradual support line, but this is likely going to fail. It's just too bearish right now. So rather than looking at these smaller time frames, I mean, this is illegible. You can't read this effectively, right? This is Morse code. You can't base any actions on these. You can't identify specific candles and have them have any kind of meaning or context, because there's nothing going on in this stock. There's just too low volume. It's not anything that you can trade effectively. And it's a low float stock. So we know for low floats, right, we call them low float poppers. We want them to get that surge of volume. And that's what happens when they get catalysts. If they don't have that volume, we shouldn't be adding a lot of money. We just add little pieces to it. And then when it pops, we can add the confirmation if we catch it. Or if we don't, we just take our profits and that's it. We're taking profit either way on these spikes usually. So right now, if you added here and added here, right, this was what, 70 cents, 60 cents, something like that, 65 cents. This might be an area to start watching, but I wouldn't add much to it until it starts to move up, right? Because what does it gain you if you add right here during this heavy consolidation? It's got low volume, right? The path of least resistance is still to the downside. The overall trend direction is still to the downside. So what does it gain you buying right here as opposed to buying a little bit higher with more support pushing behind it, right? So again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but if you're just constantly buying red candles and flat stocks, you're not going to have a good time in the stock market. So try to identify those areas, and this is why we teach these. We teach workflows and stuff. We help you build a trading plan in the Pennybois University because we don't just want you blindly buying and hoping you're right. You got to have a plan for every single stock you trade, and if you don't, you're going to be stressed out because what you're seeing isn't going to match what you are expecting, and that's going to hurt you in so many ways in your portfolio, right? So, we have a logical workflow. First is identify the potential, right? If there's no potential, you shouldn't be putting any money in it at all. From a purely beginner standpoint, right? The first thing I want to do is see an alert, right? That means it's been looked at by someone who has years and years and years of experience. And that says, okay, there's potential here at least. Then your job is to find that potential and decide if that potential agrees with you, right? So then we start getting into the actual workflow. So look at the weekly chart. What's the overall trend direction? What is the strong support and resistance levels? What is the setup, right? Then you look at the daily. You work your way down through the time frames. You identify the trend, the sentiment. Then you identify the setup. The setup is going to filter out a lot of the trend is going to filter out a lot of setups, and then the setups is going to filter out a lot of confirmations. And if you don't see a confirmation, you shouldn't really be buying, right? And if you're seeing stuff that doesn't make sense, that you can't trade and identify clearly, you can't really expect to make a consistent profit, right? That's the whole point of this, is to be as consistent as possible. That way, when losses do happen, you have a plan and you're okay with it. But we see all the time, new traders, they find success. They say, yes, things are going well, maybe 3 or 4 days in a row, and then they experience their first loss, and that completely wipes out their profits because they overcommitted, they didn't have a plan, or they just didn't know how to manage those waters that they found themselves in. And that's why we got to have a plan for everything, and that's why we teach you why things happen rather than just how to do them, right? Zax Lizard hit that spike, sold all. Awesome. Okay, so you got a small swing at 40 cents. That's not bad, man. So you caught the first buy, right? This is a good area for a first buy. That's not bad, man. And again, it's just this volatility. Without this volatility, this stock is not going very far. So, it's good stuff. Good job, man. And then when it does go very far, right, there's always this threat of dilution. So that's why we want to lock our profits as soon as these impulses start to turn around against us, because every other investor also sees there's heavy restrictions. So if this company gets desperate, if they start to panic and say, okay, we need to either remain listed or we need to raise cash really quick, they're going to dilute, and then that's going to hurt you guys because you'll be trapped. So, we're trying to help you guys avoid that. Just look to the left. You guys can see this stock has a history of sells, big spikes, and immediate sell-offs, right? That's what this thing is. That's its profile, right? Like these are not once in a lifetime things. These are constantly happening on this stock, and that's why we like to add small pieces, and then when they happen, all we have to do is lock them in. It's like fishing, right? You're baiting the water. You're putting your lure out there. Your hook is there, and then when something nibbles on it, you just yank it and set it. And then you can't read this, guys. So don't try to trade stuff that looks like this either. So hopefully that makes sense. You got plenty of opportunities on this stock to make money. We just have to be careful. Debo, oh, sorry, man. Have a good day at work. I gotta jump off here too because I have another stream coming up in about a half hour. But I wanted to kind of go down this rabbit hole because I see a lot of people struggling. Not our members or anything. I'm just saying people in general in the market. If you look at the Weeble comments, it's full of despair and misinformation. So our job is to punch a hole through that and give you guys some education and equip you guys and girls so that you guys can have the tools. You guys and girls. I keep saying it. You people. Is that better? That's not better. Sorry about that. We want everyone to succeed. Okay. And everyone can succeed. You just need to slow down, get some education, build a solid foundation for yourself, and then stand up on your own 2 feet and just trade carefully and build yourself into these trades. Right. We've seen it, right? When we take a new trader and we teach them that you can break your buys up and you don't just have to put it all in one spot and hope you're right. That just blows their mind. And then after that, it's a series of revelations of things that you can do, layers that you can add to your trading plan that make life a lot easier and a lot more efficient. So rather than hoping you were right when you put it all in the one spot and hoping that you had the right spot, we can determine where the appropriate spot is and then break up our buys and give ourselves much more potential. And that's what it's all about. So good stuff. I'm actually just going to look at HGen real quick because I think we had another little run on that one. Another little pop. So this one's sold on the paper account that we're trading for the PBU. That was a nice little run up on that one. Early this morning. I was not online at that point. But you can see we've had some really nice continuation off of this one. So I've made quite a bit. For a small account, it's our PBU strategy. It's a very, very slow, conservative, risk management focused strategy. And we've locked in profits on all these runs, basically. We built down a nice position, locked in profits nice and low, and then just bam, 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 3 times in a row. So it's pretty good. Not big dollar amounts, but percentage-wise, it's really, really good. And that's what matters because those are going to compound and it's good. It's awesome. That's what I do on my large account. I just do consistent profits, right? All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. I appreciate everyone hanging out, and I'm going to stop the recording right now. Hopefully, again, if you're still watching, Mr. Chala, I think hopefully that UAL answered your question. I'll see you guys later. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to end the recording.